When a person doesn't like you, they team up with another person that doesn't like you. And before you know it, there's a whole slew of people that hate you. But here's the thing, those people, they don't even like each other. They're only gathered because of you. See how powerful you are?
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To all of my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. You would have had to be living under a rock not to know that there's a certain contingent in existence, united only by their blind, unadulterated hatred towards Meghan Sussex. In an age where we are all encouraged to be our authentic selves, it would appear that authenticity is something to be avoided in royal circles, because in royal circles, being inauthentic is the norm. Diana was considered a threat because even though she met certain conditions in order to become an accepted member of the royal family, she was made to feel she was never quite good enough. Then she eventually showed that she had her own way of doing things. Consequently, this breath of fresh air outshone the group of people she had become a part of, and they strongly resented her for it. Diana's authenticity led to her life being terminated when she was at her most vibrant, most liberated, and most independent. Fast forward to the daughters-in-law Diana never knew, who couldn't be more different from each other. One who is deified simply for being a middle-class, middle-of-the-road, virtually lobotomized woman who blends in, with no legitimate, verifiable attributes and no real scrutiny about what and how much she actually does.
Morning friends, happy Thursday, how the heck are you? Well, the positivity stories, all of which are fake, about Kate and William are out in force in the last 24 hours. See my earlier video upload from today. Kate Middleton unveils her own art exhibition at the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. How has she done this without actually visiting? Did she do a ship-to-shore conference call with video? We just don't know. She's actually still on holiday on this £300 million yacht that's been loaned to them or rented to them by some Middle Eastern guru. So we don't actually know how she's achieved this. But to me, the exhibition looks lovely. It's basically 6 items that you can buy in the shop. Has it gone down as a work event? How long did it take her to do it? Did she actually do it herself? I've no idea what the heck's going on. I think there's a bigger story that the press want to dig their little fingers into, their little grubby fingers, but for legal and financial reasons, they can't. What has Kate achieved since she got married? Yes, she's been poorly. We're not going to kick her when she's down, but what has she actually achieved? I cannot think of a single thing. And to be fair, exactly the same with William.
The other, whose DNA was described as exotic, a hard-working, well-accomplished woman who was happy to relinquish a significant part of her independence, move continents, and change her religion, fully prepared to serve the citizens of her husband's native country. Consequently, this breath of fresh air outshone the group of people she had become a part of, and they strongly resented her for it. The difference, however, between Meghan and her late mother-in-law is that Meghan has a fiercely protective husband who himself moved continents, fully prepared to serve citizens of the globe alongside her, because service is universal. As well as serving others, Harry and Meghan are making sure they create and establish generational wealth for their family, fully aware that a regular 9-to-5 office job will never be the right vehicle.
Morning friends, happy August. Hold on a minute, weren't the Daily Mail literally 3 weeks ago telling us that Meghan and Harry are absolutely skinned? They're on the edge of crisis. That's why the peace talks were held with King Charles's advisors in London, because Harry wants to get his hands on more of the funds that he was left from his mother. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on, rewind. Meghan's new gold mine. Yeah, well, kind of, guys, don't you get it yet? Anything Meghan does, sees, touches, performs, turns to gold. Creates, turns to gold. Insiders tell Alison Boshoff, I wish you would Boshoff, why she and Harry are set to make more money next year. Sorry, laughing at my own jokes, bad form. Why her and Harry are set to make more money next year, despite being horrible at making decisions. But it's not all good news. No, what's not good news? They are free. They have enough money to get by. They are living in the California sunshine. They're raising their children in the way that they want to. They're making their own decisions. They've got serious commercial contracts with Netflix, and they love each other. Yeah. Can't find the good news there. Can you?
So when you have ignorant, colonial-minded, blustery mouthpieces saying things like this...
This is all about making Meghan the big star. And it doesn't matter what it costs. The Queen has given them license to go off and have their cake and eat it. And I think she's going to eat more cake than we've seen since Marie Antoinette. If you end up having renegade royals running around the world like global celebrities, if you allow them to do that and to ruthlessly, commercially cash in on their royal fame, that is the beginning of the end of the monarchy. And that's why I'm stunned the Queen's allowed them to do this.
I can guarantee you that this made-up rule has never been applied to Queen Elizabeth's eldest grandson, Peter Phillips, whose lack of title doesn't subtract from the royal blood in his veins. So why was he able to engage in commercial interests using his royalness, even though he has never been a working royal? And while we're talking about Peter Phillips, it's been reported that after a year of dating his girlfriend, Harriet Sperling, a divorced mother who is an NHS paediatric nurse specialist, the couple have announced their engagement. What you are not likely to see is a deep dive into Miss Sperling's background. What you are not likely to have is the point driven home that she is a divorcee and a single parent. And what you are not likely to see is wall-to-wall coverage of their relationship. Piers Morgan is determined to make you believe fully that the Sussexes are truly irrelevant. So it was a joy to see him try to suppress his rage when Harvey Levin from TMZ had this to say.
Harry and Meghan are in the upswing because what I'm hearing is people saying, well, Meghan was right. It's impossible being a member of that family. And people who think that Kate might have had some kind of a nervous breakdown, they're looking at what happened to Meghan. They're looking at what happened to Diana. And they're saying, yeah, it's impossible to live in that family. Meghan and Harry may be right. So in a way, I think in terms of their status, in terms of PR in America, it's gone up as a result of this.
How interesting, because over here all the polls are, they're getting more and more unpopular.
Yeah.
America is very important, Harvey, to the royal family, to the monarchy. I think if you took the American love of our royals away, you would be taking a very, very large chunk of their viability as a working, serving monarchy. How damaging is all this been, do you think, to the brand of the royal family and the monarchy?
I'll tell you why I think this is really damaging. That a lot of people in America, honestly, myself included, think that the royal family, it's just this stodgy group of people behind, this big wall at Buckingham Palace, and that William and Kate were kind of a breath of fresh air, that they were young, that they kind of connected to young people around the world, that they understood media. And now the way I think a lot of people are viewing this is they're using the same playbook as the 70 and 80-year-olds in the palace. And so there was this feeling and maybe even hope that William and Kate would dust off, what had been going on in the palace for years. And I think now they're kind of viewing them as part of the problem.
Going back to the made-up rule espoused by Meghan, I can also guarantee that this does not apply to Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, who, as we all know, is still considered a part of the family, although she is no longer legally married to Queen Elizabeth's supposed favourite son. Sarah, who brought so much shame and disgrace to her former in-laws, but was fully forgiven, and not once were there rallying cries for her title to be taken away. Sarah, who commands hundreds of thousands of dollars for speaking engagements. Sarah, who earns a very decent living as a successful author. So why was she able to engage in commercial interests using her royalness, even though she no longer performs royal duties? Those are just a couple of examples of the double standard that the toxic British media want you to ignore, while they lament the fact that Meghan's fledgling business has achieved such phenomenal results in its first 7 months, results that the royal collection could only ever dream of achieving. I'm sure you've heard by now that Charles has launched a beard grooming line. I find it hard to believe that Charles would be involved in any part of the creative and development process, unlike Meghan, who, because she wants to ensure what she puts out is of high quality, will always be involved in the creative and development process, so that whatever she sells meets her exacting standards. This article is from Hello Magazine, published on the 31st of July 2025, and the headline reads, Meghan Sussex makes a big announcement ahead of birthday week. The Duchess of Sussex turns 44 on 4th of August. The Duchess of Sussex has been absent from social media since her 4th of July celebrations. But Meghan, 43, has made a huge announcement, and it coincides with a personal date. The mother of two will mark her 44th birthday on 4th of August, and her As Ever brand team have revealed that products will launch imminently, including new wines. A newsletter sent out to subscribers on Wednesday read, "We hope you've been having a beautiful summer, enjoying the adventure of travel or the calm of home, finding beauty in the little things, and perhaps trying something new." On that note, many of you were able to try our debut 2023 Napa Valley Rosé, and we were over the moon to hear your feedback. 10 out of 10. Perfect. Elevated flavour. Stunning and delicious. We also won blind taste tests as the best rosé and were coined the it drink for the summer. Wow, we thought, and thank you, we say. This affirmed all of the love, time and effort our team and our founder poured into curating this blend to evoke the sun-drenched spirit of Napa Valley and the breathtaking tenor of the California coast. Thank you for filling our cup. Now it's time for us to fill your glass. We are pleased to share that our 2024 Napa Valley Rosé will be available for purchase next week. It marries the same harmony of notes from our first blend and creates an elegant medley of delicate yet memorable flavour. You'll want to clink glasses with friends as the sun sets, toasting to a summer of joy. Barefoot or in sandals, dressed up or dressed down, this rosé may become your favourite accessory for alfresco lunches and dinners at dusk. Cheers, the As Ever team. And then it goes on to talk about Meghan's first launch and how much it cost. Available to US customers only. According to reports, the Duchess has also planned to release a Méthode Champenoise Napa Valley sparkling wine for the near future, as well as other variations. Among the new items on sale were a £20 limited edition orange blossom honey and a £10 apricot spread in keepsake packaging. Products from her online store, including the raspberry spread and edible flower sprinkles, sold out for a second time in a row. And then it talks about a digital content creator who works for Hello and hosts a podcast. She's tried 2 of Meghan's products. Andrea Carmano says, I've had the pleasure of trying 2 of Meghan's products and it's clear how much work and love has gone into them. I bought the jam from the first drop before it sold out and I was delighted with the packaging and how luxe it looked. After the second drop, I was lucky to try the sprinkles and I have to admit it does exactly what it promises, elevates the ordinary. I definitely bring out both products if I were hosting. I'm really keen to try the wine next. I haven't had the chance yet as shipping to the UK is tricky since they don't ship to Europe yet. But honestly, I think I could give the best verdict because I love my wine. Just days after her product launch, the Duchess shared a glimpse into her Independence Day celebrations with her family. Meghan opened up about a personal 4th of July tradition that began when she first began dating Harry in 2016. In an Instagram post, Meghan said the couple began marking Independence Day in the US with sweet treats after Harry brought themed cupcakes to celebrate their second date. The pair now include their young children Archie 6 and Lilibet 4 in the tradition. Never have I ever heard of any royal collection offerings undergo a blind taste test, which tells me that for some reason people are naive enough to assume that British royalty automatically equates to high quality. If they're crumbling, near derelict, rat-infested residences are anything to go by, including the ones William collects rents for, that should tell you all you need to know. I find it interesting that the institution has now become suddenly so enthusiastic about promoting their products, such as wine, preserves, and also honey, as if they're trying to compete with the Duchess of Sussex.
Kate was exuberantly speaking about her new hobby,
which is
beekeeping. So she's now keeping bees at Admiral Hall, at the Sandringham Estate.
Meghan does it too.
Well, it's all the rage apparently, and so does David Beckham.
David Beckham, King Charles.
Yes,
yeah. They're so left out.
Oh yeah. If you're not keeping bees, you're no one these days.
And when it comes to clothing, please don't be surprised if you see Kate following Meghan's lead, as you are now able to shop online for items that Meghan wears. Neither will you be surprised at the news that the Sussexes are negotiating a new Netflix contract. Such is the close relationship both parties mutually enjoy, despite what the tabloids want you to believe.
Morning friends, how the heck are you? Well, the royalists will be going mad in the comments again because the royalists, like sheep, believe the previous Daily Mail stories about Meghan and Harry being ejected from Netflix and no further material being produced. They believe the Daily Mail and the insider at Netflix that said Harry and Meghan are not well liked and the sales of the wine were poor, so we're not going to do anything else. This is the absolute truth. Meghan's locked in negotiations for a new Netflix deal. And why wouldn't they be? Netflix, billion-dollar business, no success when they see it. These two together are success. Netflix have signed a multi-million-pound supply chain deal with Meghan and Harry. They're not going to walk away from that when the products are flying off the shelves like hotcakes. The series are huge successes, and these two have much more material in them because they turn up, do good, and their lives are actually interesting. It's weird that royalists watch my channel. You're all welcome to do it. It helps my views. It's a bit odd, though, that you'd follow a channel that supports two people that had to change their lives by leaving the country to stay alive and build a better life. Weird.
So, as Charles ponders what random item he can sell next, and William and Kate pivot in order to transform laziness into work while hoping you don't realise they're planning their next holiday, Meghan will continue building her commercial empire with the support of her foxy husband, loyal mother, well-adjusted children, and inner circle of close friends, all the while saying an unequivocal no to the ridiculously audacious demands of an embarrassingly desperate British media almost 5,000 miles away. Okay guys, a few final thoughts I'm going to share with you. One particular thought I've had for a while. I'm noticing that Kate, she never had that much confidence to begin with, in my opinion, but it's becoming less and less. Let's park to one side this health condition. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact that she is not displaying queenly attributes as far as I'm concerned. What do I mean? She's not mature enough in her thinking, and I suspect that's William's influence, but let me elaborate further. Cast your mind back to June 2018, the month after Harry and Meghan got married, when Meghan accompanied Queen Elizabeth on the royal train to Cheshire, which is in the northwest of England, and this was for a series of engagements. We saw the rapport between Meghan and Queen Elizabeth, how they were laughing, enjoying each other's company. What the media wanted to focus on was that Meghan didn't know which side of the car to go on. Remember guys, this is her first engagement as a married woman and Harry wasn't with her, so it was like she was a bit out of her comfort zone, and I think she did really well. Remember in the Harry and Meghan documentary, she said that the Queen reminded her of her grandmother. She had the blanket on her knees and she offered to share that with Meghan in the car, and you could see that. And I've always thought, hand on heart, that the Queen really had a soft spot for Meghan. So when the media was in a frenzy about Lilibet's name, I found it interesting that they didn't raise this issue while Queen Elizabeth was alive. Could it be because the Queen approved? Harry and Meghan are not the type of people, especially with the respect that they had for Queen Elizabeth. They're not just going to do that willy-nilly. Of course they would have asked if it was okay to do that. And like I said, I found it interesting that this didn't become an adverse situation until after the Queen passed away. I've always questioned that. And the reason I say all of this is, remember, Kate was never asked to go on a trip like that with the Queen. That hadn't been done before, to my recollection. And I think it would be fair to assume that Kate has harboured resentment for Meghan for things like that. On top of everything else, something like that. Because in the eyes of the public, it's like, that didn't happen to Kate. Kate, who is supposed to be the future Queen. Queen Elizabeth was not dumb, okay? Real recognises real. Remember, Queen Elizabeth had an issue with Kate not having a proper job. What did Meghan come to the royal table with? She came to the royal table with millions of her own money that she had earned legitimately. She was in spaces that Harry had never been into, like addressing the United Nations, spending time in Argentina, being able to speak fluent Spanish, working with UNICEF. I think it was UNICEF. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments. I mean, Harry had his charity work, but she had done all of this independently before she even was a thought in Harry's mind. And if I put myself in Kate's shoes, I could see that she would have been intimidated by this accomplished woman who had just become her sister-in-law, because it puts Kate in a bad light. It's like, well, I don't know how to confidently give a speech. I don't know how to speak another language. I don't know how to address an international delegation. I don't know how to do any of those things. I need to try and sabotage this woman. Like I said, these are my thoughts. You know me, guys, already. Okay. So with Meghan having left and seeing Meghan just take off into the stratosphere business-wise, Kate is now scrambling. It's like, I can make jam. We've got a plum tree in our garden. I can produce honey. We've got bees. All of these. Where was this before? Where was all this before Meghan had her business, her new business? Where? Why was this not brought to the fore prior to Meghan launching as ever? Why? What is all of this? As you know, guys, these things make me laugh. And then when we talk about, you know, competition, and I think it's pure common sense. If your product is 10 out of 10, if your service is 10 out of 10, it doesn't matter one iota to me if I don't trust you. If I don't trust you, if I don't have confidence in you, you are not getting a penny of my money. Because what I have learned, having had, you know, one or two businesses, and even in my work life, I cannot trust you if I don't have a good rapport with you. I cannot trust you if I don't have confidence in you. If you're not confident in yourself, I can't be confident in you. That's why I believe Kate is not ready to be queen. She doesn't exhibit queenly attributes because her confidence is through the floor. Like I said, forget about this health condition. Forget about that, because even without that, she still doesn't have any confidence. Meghan intimidates her. Meghan is living her life. Meghan is who she's always been. The media, in my mind, are like drug addicts. Why do I say that? I say that because they've been waiting with their tongues hanging out in a cold sweat for Meghan to post on social media. The last post she made was on Independence Day. So it's been close to a month since she's posted. I mean, she posts on As Ever, but on her personal page, she hasn't posted. So the fact that she's launching a new wine to coincide with her birthday, the fact that she's doing that and people are like, oh, you know, what's going on? Not only that, I don't know how TMZ have managed to capture images of Harry and Meghan with their friends on the beach. I think it's Santa Claus. I'm not familiar with the beach, guys, but they're watching Archie have a surfing lesson. 6-year-old Archie, who is in his element. And you know what made me smile? This little boy is enjoying freedom like his cousins will never experience. So for all of the next in line to the throne business, mentally, Lily and Archie are two well-adjusted children. And if we go back to the commercial activities, it's one thing to slap on a label saying Royal Collection and Highgrove Estate and expect that to be enough. But ask yourself, why do their products never sell out? Because the trust has been eroded. Just because you have these labels on your products doesn't mean that people are just going to automatically buy them. We trust Meghan. When I say we, you know who we are. We trust Meghan, so we will buy her products. We will continue to support her because of the meticulous care she takes in its development. She cares about how her goods are presented. She cares about the customer service. She cares that you have an experience. Everything is about enjoying the experience. The Royal Collection don't care about that. Highgrove Estate doesn't care about that. They just want you to buy their product and that's it. They don't care about the end user. They don't care about the end user. Like I said, if your product could be the highest quality, if I don't trust you, if I feel we don't have a connection, you are not getting any of my money. And these people do well to learn from Meghan. Little Meghan. Can you imagine? And another thing, and when the issue is raised about these so-called peace talks between Harry's camp and Charles's camp, my question is, what has changed? Why are we supposed to now believe that Charles wants to reconcile with Harry when all the while, do you remember the Invictus 10th anniversary? Harry wanted him to come to the service at St. Paul's Cathedral and Charles declined because he was too busy. Only come to find out that he was having a garden party a few miles up the road, but he had energy and time for David Beckham later on that same week. What's happened, guys? I'm genuinely asking, what has happened? Are we really supposed to believe that Charles is ready for reconciliation? We know William, forget about William. William is William. William is stubborn. That, you know, leave him in his corner to sulk. What is going on with Charles? I personally don't believe it, but I am ready to be corrected on that. As of this video, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Because the issue of security still has not been addressed. And that is the sticking point for Harry. So all of this doesn't add up, and that's why I say I'm not convinced, but I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And with that said, guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.